Hey anglers, it's Al, the Hitman Sims, with the Connecticut Fishing Recon Report, brought to you by blackopsfishing.com. Real undercover fishing. And the first Recon report for the Memorial Day weekend comes to us from the Fish Connection in Preston, Connecticut. Captain Jack Ballant offers us a secret trout stocking report. Okay, listen up, this is classified information. The Blackledge River was stocked with 450 brookies. Beach Pond was stocked with 2,100 brown trout. The Connecticut River was stocked with 1,800 browns and brookies mixed. The Quinnebog River was stocked with 1,500 browns. The Jeremy River was stocked with 690 brookies, and the Hop River was stocked with 300 rainbows. Also, the Salmon River was stocked with 1,600 rainbows, and recently were stocked Uncas Pond and Mohican Pond Park. All stocked fish were adult trout over 12 inches in length. That's a great report for Memorial Day trout anglers. On the salty side, Jack says that Fluke is off to a good start. In fact, it's the best he's seen in years. Try the Rhode Island beaches, as well as Fisher's Island's Umbrella Beach and Isabella's Beach, in around 60 feet of water. Winter flounder have been good around Jupiter Point and Pine Island. There's also been a few weak fish around as well. Stripers have been good in the race on diamond jigs and bucktails fished on a three-way. There's not too many blues in the way yet, but there are a few around. Jack says there's plenty of stripers and bunker in the Thames and a few shads still left at the Greenville Dam. And last but not least, Cheyenne from the shop has been doing well at Napatree Point and Watch Hill Harbor with sand eel imitations fishing for stripers. The next Recon report comes to us from Fishing Factory 3 in Middletown. Andrew says that migratory stripers are starting to fill in on all the local reefs. They've had reports of bass from 6 Mile Reef, the Race, and Millstone. The Race has been fishing decent with diamond jigs, and the better reports from 6 Mile have been on the wire. Fluke fishing has been off to a good start. There's some fish east of Block in 80 feet of water, and Andrew's anxious to hear of the reports from anglers who get out to the backside of fishers. The bite is usually pretty good for the first few weeks when it goes down. Once again, the shop will be teaming up with River's End for the annual long Fluke fishing tourney. $20 gets you in, with a $5 side bet for the biggest sea bass of the season. Some bluefish around, and it doesn't take long for them to invade all the reefs. Andrew's heard of a few sluggos coming back in half at the mouth of the Connecticut River, and a few harbor-sized blues at the discharge in Millstone. On the Connecticut River, Andrew says the Connecticut River has been fishing decent in the Cromwell to Old Saybrook stretches. There's a good supply of alewives left in the river with bass hot on their tail. Anglers fishing sand and bloodworms from the banks have been catching steadily right along. There's a lot of small fish, but the occasional keeper is hitting the bank. Areas like the Goodspeed Opera House boat ramp, the Rushford Center in Middletown, and the Cromwell boat launch have been the most productive areas for bigger fish. Fish around and they're willing to take your offerings, but getting them to eat can be an issue. They've been hot and heavy for spooks and pencil poppers in the last week or so, and fishing low light conditions will increase your odds, but then again, it seems like every few days a customer comes in and tells us about a good bite that went off at high noon. Fishing shallow flats adjacent to areas that get good herring runs have been the ticket. The mouth of the Connecticut River has a good push of fish in the shallows, parallel to Saybrook Point. Spooks and sluggos are the weapons of choice, and if you catch it in the first few or the last few hours of the day, the bite can be slamming. There's some bunker in the mouth which should keep a good majority of these fish put for a while. Perch bite has been decent on bait here in Middletown on River Road, and Old Saybrook and Lime have been producing some fish as well. But if you're looking for big catfish, this is a great time of year to put a fish on the scale that weighs in the double digits. Fresh chunk and shad scraps have been an effective bait in the last few weeks. Pike fishing has slowed up a bit, but there's still a few on the chew. Andrew says, catch 'em up. And the next Recon report comes to us from Helios Tackle in Waterford. John tells us to remember that blackfish season is still closed, but flounder season is decent. The Sharpies have been getting their 2 fish limits at all the usual locations. No real biggies, but the keepers are definitely there. On the other hand, stripers have been very good. They've hit all the local reefs such as hatchets, bartletts, and the race. Remember, these are the front runners of the migratory fish, and one day the fishing's cold and the next day it's red hot. This is the best time of year to try wire line and trolling rig like umbrella rigs and rubber shad in all the local rips. John tells us that fluking is off to a really good start for this time of the year. It doesn't say it'll stay that way, but it's off to a really good start. The number of keepers versus shorts is better than it's been in several years. Isabella is a good spot. Also try Millstone, number 6 Bell Buoy, White Rock area, and 2 Tree Channel for keeper fluke. And the next Recon report comes to us from Connecticut Outfitters in Wethersfield. There's still plenty of bait in the Connecticut River, so much so that striper catching can be tricky. Although many nice bass have been taken, including a 48-inch cow from the Enfield area. The good news is the river did not rise as much as we expected it would this weekend, but it did muddy up, so the Sharpies are switching to muddy water colors, the top color being bubblegum. Sluggos, bombers, tubes, and worms in the bubblegum colors are a good choice for striper fishing this weekend. Catfish are on the prowl in good numbers and are taking bait meant for stripers. Carp are everywhere. They're on the spawn in various stages. You can find them gathered along the banks of the river. Ethan of Connecticut Fishing Adventures has been catching dozens of huge carp each outing. Trout fishing is great. The rivers are up and stocked. GB Outdoors himself landed a sweet 14-inch brookie on the Quinnipiac River. And the last Recon report comes from our very own Black Ops fishing team. The team has been doing awesome this season on the freshwater bass scene, from boat, kayak, and land. The boys have been scoring well. Lately, wacky worms fished just off the bedding sites have been the ticket for the fish on. Just before the cold front last evening, 5/24/13, fish on was killing it on every cast with a wacky worm. Moose and kai have been picking on the catfish at Wethersfield Cove. Fresh cut eels is their bait of choice, while the Hitman has been switching it up as usual. This has been Al the Hitman Sims with the Connecticut Fishing Recon Report, brought to you by Black Ops Fishing, real undercover fishing. Until next week, keep off my bass.